Hey guys, Steph here. I wanted to kind of come at you with a different video today. There's always so many different things on social media, in the news, animal expose stories, animal news, and then sometimes some really unfortunate stuff. We can think of Harambe, we can think of Cecil, these things that kind of blow up the animal world and get everybody talking about animal issues. People that wouldn't necessarily really care, you wouldn't think that we're animal type people. And I know everybody that watches my channel, you watch it because you're an animal person. So I thought it'd be great if we could address some of those big news stories together. I kind of want to give you guys some information and then maybe my opinion, and then I want to hear back from you. I want you to tell me, what are your opinions? How do you feel? What could have been done differently? What can we do differently in the future? So for this first session, we're going to talk about the 3-month-old African elephant calf who is now dead at the Pittsburgh Zoo and Aquarium. This 3-month-old calf, who was never named because she was sick from the beginning, was born in May. And so Dr. Barbara Baker, who is the president and CEO of the Pittsburgh Zoo and Aquarium, has this to say, and quote, "The humane decision to euthanize the calf was made and she passed away peacefully, surrounded by her family of dedicated keepers." Another baby elephant, another baby animal dead in a Western zoo, in a place that is supposed to have the best vet care and the best treatment available for them. So, like most elephants that are in captivity now, the younger ones I should say, because let me make this clear, there are still elephants in zoos across the United States who were taken from the wild, who were stolen from the wild in places like here in Thailand and the surrounding areas of Southeast Asia, and then parts of South Asia such as India as well, India and Sri Lanka. So that does happen, but calves are now born in breeding centers in the United States. And so this unnamed female African elephant that recently died, she was born at the Pittsburgh Zoo and Aquarium's International Conservation Center. So International Conservation Center, that makes me think like, okay, that's something they're conservation efforts, they're helping. What this really is, it's a breeding and training program for the zoo industry. So female elephants, so not here at the International Conservation Center, but in many places are fertilized using artificial insemination. So my apologies guys for the loss of quality just now and the loss of audio. My DSLR decided not to work anymore. So I apologize, we're using the vlog camera, so we'll do the best that we can. We were talking about forced breeding. So not necessarily at the International Conservation Center. I'm not making any accusations. I certainly don't believe that they would do this there, but who knows? Nobody knows. I wish they would come out and be more open about it. But in other places in the world, here in Thailand as an example, there are documented instances of forced breeding. And what that is, it's not artificial insemination. It is literally a female elephant will be chained by all 4 legs, and then the male will come in and be allowed to mount her. So she cannot adjust her weight, she can't move, so this can lead to broken hips, broken backs, all kinds of really terrible things. And this is just to make more elephants for the tourism industry in this part of the world. What the International Conservation Center and places like it are doing are providing more and more baby elephants for the zoo industry. So on one hand, you have progressive zoos and organizations that are saying, okay, either we want to send our elephants that we have now to sanctuary, or when ours die out, we're not going to get more. And they're doing that because they know that in a zoo environment, you cannot properly care for an elephant. You can't meet their nutritional requirements as well. You can't meet their social requirements, their just lack of space. Elephants are big animals and they need to be with others of their own kind. That's just, they're a social large animal. So the International Conservation Center, where this poor unfortunate calf was born, is just pushing out more and more baby elephants to sell to other zoos. And why do they do that? Well, baby elephants make a lot of money for a zoo. Elephants don't breed in captivity readily because they're stressed out. Elephants are smart. They're not going to want to reproduce if they know that things aren't optimal. If they don't have a great life, they have an enclosed space, they don't get to live their natural free life, they don't want to breed. They don't want to make more babies. And you can look into it, you can anthropomorphize the animal and say, well, is that because they don't want their children to suffer? I've heard people make that argument before. Having worked with elephants previously myself, I do feel that they have so much more than we can be aware of. They have so much more intelligence and integrity. This is a very social animal, a very intelligent animal, and personally I feel, yeah, maybe they wouldn't breed because they understand that their children would be put through the same circumstances that they are. It's a possibility. So as we were saying, like, baby elephants make big money. They're a huge attraction. They get people to come to the zoos, and that's what zoos are about, is money. If you're gonna have an African elephant in a zoo in Pennsylvania and call it conservation, it's not conservation. You want to direct those funds into an anti-poaching program in South Africa or other places that the elephants are endangered of being poached? Sure, do that, but breeding more and more baby elephants to put in zoos in North America isn't conservation. And when they say it's conservation, it's failing the word conservation. It's disgracing the people that work in conservation. She was born at the International Conservation Center, and the zoo has stated was immediately rejected by her mother. Whether or not that's true, I don't know. I don't have any additional information. We're just going off of what the zoo has provided for us. So that the elephant was immediately taken to the zoo itself, out of the conservation center, to be cared for by the staff and the veterinary staff there. By all accounts, it seemed like the vets and the keeper team, they worked tirelessly to save this baby elephant. As much as I hate the zoo system, I have no doubt that the people that cared for this elephant loved her dearly and did their very, very best. Zoo vets, they want to choose to work in a zoo, that's one thing, but I'm sure they tried everything, and they're qualified vets. They were reaching for resources from all over the world about orphaned African elephants, and I have to believe they did the very, very best they can, and my heart absolutely breaks for the people that watched this baby die. Grasping at straws, trying to do whatever they could to save her. So I'm sorry if anybody sees this. This isn't a dig at the keepers or at the veterinary staff. My respect and my condolences go out to you. So it is kind of unclear whether the mother just rejected her because the mother was, an incompetent mother or didn't know how to mother, or if the baby was sick from the start. So the zoo doesn't really release that information. They do say that this baby elephant was sick from the start, but that also her mother didn't have milk and rejected her. I think it's probably going to be an either or. Either the baby was sick, so they pulled her off to hand rear, or the mother just didn't want to take care of it, and that's why she got sick. So I'm not entirely sure. I think the zoo needs to be a little bit more open about that information. I know they are doing a necropsy, a post-mortem examination, and hopefully they'll release those findings to kind of give everybody a little bit of more insight onto what was wrong with this poor baby. So the calf was being hand raised. From the statement from the zoo, it was being fed African elephant milk that was hand milked from another elephant in the zoo, and then being fed a formula substitute specifically designed for African elephants. The decision was eventually made to do a surgical procedure installing a feeding tube in for the little baby elephant. That's great, like they were trying everything they could, but they brought the media into it very early, and at that point sensationalized the surgery, and they used her for PR. That's what it really, really feels like. You can watch the video reports from the local news saying, oh, the baby's getting better, and they see her walking around, and she's on display like there are children, there are members of the public that are observing her at that point. So again, not to discredit the vets and the staff, because the vets are miracle workers. They did everything they possibly could, but to have her be used as a publicity stunt, it just feels really ethically wrong. So as someone that's involved in animal rescue, you know they don't always make it, and you don't publicize ones that you know aren't going to make it. The only reason to do this would be A, to bring more people into the zoo, right? And B, to get more donors, more funding coming in. And so both times it just comes down to money. You're going to exploit this dying baby elephant, skinny dying baby elephant, for money. Yeah. So after even the feeding tube wasn't working, the vets and the staff did make the decision to humanely euthanize this baby elephant. That's something that personally I applaud them for. I think to let her suffer is immoral, and it's so hard when you've put so much work into it. So that's a brave decision on their part, and I applaud that. It sounds like maybe it could have been done sooner, but that's from a layperson that's just reading a couple of articles. So ultimately the vet staff did the right thing. Did they do it at the right time? I think that remains to be seen, or will never be seen. So Pittsburgh Zoo and Aquarium has kind of a long history when it comes to elephants. They've kept elephants for a long time. They were an accredited zoo under the AZA, the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, which is considered the organization, the accrediting organization that is most focused on animal welfare in North America and a couple other countries as well, not just the United States and Canada. In 2015, the AZA denied accreditation to the Pittsburgh Zoo because of their refusal to update their elephant handling methods. So the AZA switched over to what we call protected contact. So protected contact handling is when a keeper doesn't walk next to the elephant, doesn't have hands-on contact with the elephant. So in protective contact, it's not a complete, there is still some risk, okay, but it's downgrading the risk by numerous times over. There is very little opportunity for the elephant to hurt and kill their keeper. This protects the keepers, obviously, and it's better for the elephants because the training methods used in protective contact are much less physical. In open contact handling of elephants, which the Pittsburgh Zoo utilizes to this day and still pushes really hard, saying that it is the right way to handle elephants, is a much more close contact. The keeper can touch the elephant can touch the keeper, they walk together. When you're dealing with a 3, 4, 5 ton animal, you're never safe from them. And in open contact, the training methods are based more on fear and intimidation. So close contact, you use positive reinforcement. The keepers, the staff, the vet team, they all work together on training the elephant to do the things that would be necessary in captivity, meaning presenting its feet for health checks, ears for blood draw, and that's all done through a protective barrier. So nobody's going to get hurt, and you don't have to use intimidation tactics because the elephant's not going to get you. It's okay if it freaks out and gets mad, it can bang on the bars and it's not going to hurt anybody. With the open contact technique of handling that Pittsburgh Zoo is using, if the elephant gets mad, the only way to stop it is to get that hook and say, I am gonna hit you, because the training that it's had throughout its life says, yeah, I'm gonna get hit, and that's really gonna hurt with that hook, so I'm not gonna swing my trunk, I'm gonna do exactly what the keeper says. In 2002, there was actually a keeper death at the Pittsburgh Zoo in open contact where an elephant did kill its keeper. So more and more zoos and organizations are moving away into protective contact, and it is considered the humane way of dealing with elephants. And the fact that Pittsburgh Zoo is so adamantly against changing the way that they deal with the elephants, I think it says a lot. It says a lot about their integrity, about their goals, and about their, just the, why would you do that? So what everything ultimately boils down to is there was an innocent tiny little baby that was bred for the sole purpose of imprisonment for the rest of her natural life. She was bred to be jailed. She was bred to be caged. She was bred to never know a real elephant family and natural elephant behaviors. I think that is a travesty. So what can we do to change this? I don't know. What can we do? What I do is I don't go to zoos. I don't support the imprisonment of my animal friends. I love that Simpsons episode that they have Springfield Zoo, come see all your animal friends in prison. And that's exactly what it is. I do feel that there are cases for captive breeding in critically endangered species, done the right way when they will be reintroduced to the wild. I can get behind that. I feel that that's worth supporting. But to just breed animals to have more animals in zoos, I can't get behind that. If Pittsburgh Zoo wants to work on their breeding program for native North American wildlife and then reintroduce it, I think that's great. And if people can be educated by that, that's great. But and again, it's off the top of my head, there's a meme that goes around that says, a kid, a 6-year-old kid can tell you more about dinosaurs than they can about elephants. They've never seen a dinosaur in the wild, but they've seen elephants at the zoo. So that kind of goes against that old concept of, well, zoos are educational places for children and adults to come and learn about conservation, learn about wildlife. And in 2017, I don't think that's the case, if it ever was. We don't need to see our animal friends in prison to want to protect them, to want to love them. So I want to hear your guys' take on this situation with the elephant calf at the Pittsburgh Zoo and about zoos in general. Do you go? Don't you go? Why not? Do you disagree with anything I said? I'd love to hear about it in the comments. If you'd like to see more videos where we kind of sit down and we talk about this stuff together, please, please, please let me know. Again, in the comments, click that like button. I want it to be an open dialogue though. I don't want it to just be me talking to the camera. I do have a few links down in the description below. Some links to the Pittsburgh Zoo's statement, the AZA statement, some local news stories, things like that, so check them out. Do your own research. Always, always, always don't believe the Facebook meme. Don't believe the Facebook post. If you see something, it's interesting. If it enrages you, do a little bit of research on it. Because the first thing that anybody's going to say, oh, the vets, they killed the elephant. There's a lot more to the story than that. And I would say rarely are the vet staff to blame when things like this happen. So yeah, check out those links for sure. Like, comment, subscribe. I am 10 Paw Steph. I'm going to catch you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day, and don't go to the zoo. And respect us. Bye.